say we have a three-factor model to understand what's going on with folks with BPD. Folks with this disorder struggle with impulsivity, disturbed relatedness, and affective dysregulation. So if you do lab studies comparing folks with BPD to control groups, you find they're inattentive. They have this tendency towards action. When folks with BPD feel something, they don't just mull it over. They don't just ruminate about it. They just don't self-reflect. They just don't sit with that feeling. They act. And they typically act in ways that draw other people into their struggles or issues, but they have this tendency towards action. In addition to that, they're sensitive to rewards and insensitive to punishment. In many ways, behavior therapy, which was developed by Marsha Linehan, a fairly cognitive behavioral treatment, although I would suggest to you it's kind of an eclectic treatment, but heavily cognitive behavioral. And then we have transference-focused psychotherapy. I've got a couple questions coming in. Michelle saying, side thought, the second example, instead of a moral perspective, it sounds to me that he seemed to have more of an eternal condemnation without forgiveness. Yeah, that's another way to put it. Either way, you know, I think that situation with the boss, what I think he wasn't able to do was to say, gosh, you know, my boss might give me what I want. He might not. His reasons for that, though, can be extremely complicated. Rather than just he's giving me what I want, they're good therapy candidates who often, make some pretty good gains in the course of treatment. Now, this notion of experiencing things in an all or none way, it's both cognitive and emotional, right? The borderline patient's thinking about issues in their life is very all or none. Their feeling about those issues is all or none. And there's an age-old argument in psychology about, the primacy of affect versus cognition. Cognitive behavioral folks certainly view that as, hey, how I think about something will predict how I feel about it. That it's very stepwise for cognitive behavioral theorists that if I think a certain way about something, it's going to cause me to feel this. Psychodynamic folks are a little more fluid on that and really see affect as a little more primary. One of my big mantras with borderline patients is put your feelings into words. They put their feelings into action, so I'm constantly saying, put your feelings into words. Tell me what you're feeling right now. As I listen to my borderline patients, I listen for all or none thinking. And when I hear it, I point it out. I just simply say, well, now you're saying it's either this or that. That sounds kind of all or none to me. And then I try and maybe help them find a more modulated way to look at the issue. The thing I'd say about this is if you're thinking about this construct when you're with your borderline patient, it's not going to take too long before you hear some all or none thinking and can pull this out. And my experience has also been that my borderline patients, when I say to them, that sounds all or none to me, that they're able to accept that confrontation